You know, throughout human history, we've always been completely fascinated by the lives of the prophets. I mean, these are figures who fundamentally shaped human civilization, our faith, our morality. But the real intrigue, it actually lies in how their extraordinary lives came to an end. From the miraculous to the deeply, deeply tragic, the historical traditions surrounding the departures of the 25 prophets in Islam reveal some absolutely profound truths about mortality. Think about it for a second. Even those who perform literal miracles still have to face death. But how? I mean, these were individuals granted immense power and vast wealth. They parted seas, right? They spoke to animals, they commanded entire empires, and yet mortality was the ultimate shared experience. It was the great equalizer for every single one of them. The way they met this end, though, well, that was as wildly different as the incredible lives they lived.
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 4 main areas. 1. The standard of mortality. 2. Confronting the angel. 3. Miracles and tragedies. And 4. The final prophet's passing. Let's dive right in. Section 1. The standard of mortality. Setting the precedent. And naturally, we are starting right at the very beginning, with the very first prophet, Adam.
So picture this. Adam is 960 years old. He's nearing the end of his incredibly long life, and he asks his children to go fetch some fruits from paradise. On their way, his sons actually run into angels carrying axes and spades. The angels tell them to just turn around and go back home because their father's time has officially come. After gently taking Adam's soul, the angels performed 4 very specific steps. They washed the body, wrapped it in a shroud, dug the grave, and prayed for him. Then they instructed Adam's sons that this is exactly how they should bury their dead. And that set the foundational precedent that Muslims still use today.
And that actually brilliantly illustrates a pattern that followed for a lot of these monumental figures: peaceful departures. After fulfilling these massive, world-changing divine missions, many prophets had incredibly tranquil exits. Noah passed peacefully at the age of 950, right after giving his son some final advice against pride. Ibrahim passed naturally in Hebron after a lifetime of devotion. Yaqub and Yusuf, after that heartbreaking separation and their famous reunion, well, they both spent their final days in total peace in Egypt. And Ayub, who is so famous for losing literally everything and suffering immense physical illness, he didn't actually die from those illnesses. He was cured and eventually died naturally of old age, just like Hud, Salah, Ishaq, and Harun.
All right, moving on to Section 2. Confronting the angel. Extraordinary final encounters. This is where things get really wild.
Take Prophet Idris, for example. Idris was given this amazing blessing of receiving the reward for every good deed done on earth during his lifetime. So naturally, he wanted more time to just keep spreading goodness. He asked an angel friend if his death could be delayed, and he literally hops on the angel's wing, ascending all the way up through the heavens. Meanwhile, Allah commanded the angel of death to take Idris's soul in the 4th heaven, so the angel of death is absolutely stunned. He's probably thinking, wait, how can I take his soul up in the 4th heaven when he's way down on earth? And boom, right at that exact moment, Idris arrives on the angel's back. It was a perfectly, miraculously predestined departure.
Then we have the sheer, raw intensity of Prophet Musa, Moses. When the angel of death initially came to him disguised as a man, Musa actually struck him. He hit him so hard he damaged the angel's eye. So the angel returns to Allah, who restores his eye and sends him back with an unbelievable choice for Musa. Musa could place his hand on an ox, and for every single hair his hand covered, he would get 1 extra year of life. I mean, think about that. That equates to thousands of extra years. The alternative? Meeting Allah right now. So Musa asks, well, what happens after those extra years? And the angel replied, then death. Realizing that death was absolutely inevitable either way, Musa rejects the thousands of years and chooses to meet his Lord immediately near the Holy Land. This absolute certainty of timing brings us to Prophet Dawud, David, who lived to be exactly 100 years old. And why exactly 100? Well, when Adam was first created, he was shown the future generations. He saw that Dawud was only given 60 years of life, so Adam actually gifted Dawud 40 of his own years. Fast forward, and when Dawud's time finally came, a stranger somehow entered his fiercely protected home. The man looked at him and said, I am the one who fears no king and from whom no barrier can prevent entry. Dawud instantly recognized him, fearlessly welcomed the angel of death, and passed away. His passing was so momentous that his son Sulayman commanded thousands of birds to spread their wings, creating this massive, sprawling canopy of shade for all the mourners standing out under the blazing sun.
Section 3. Miracles and tragedies. Awe-inspiring exits and dark martyrdoms. We're going to see a real shift in tone here. Speaking of Sulayman, Solomon, his passing is easily one of the most mesmerizing stories in all of history. He ruled a massive kingdom, and he even commanded the jinn, which are unseen spiritual beings. As he grew older, he asked to die while standing up, leaning on a staff, supervising a massive construction project. So the angel of death took his soul right then and there, but Sulayman remained standing perfectly upright. The jinn just kept working day after day, totally terrified of their king, completely unaware that he had actually passed. It wasn't until tiny little termites silently ate through his wooden staff that it finally snapped, and his body fell to the ground. It's a profound lesson that absolutely no one, not even the powerful jinn, knows the unseen except Allah.
But we have to contrast those incredible miracles with some profound darkness. History records that Prophet Yahya, John the Baptist, was martyred in a cruel and bloodthirsty way. He was beheaded by an immoral king simply for speaking the truth and opposing an unlawful royal marriage. His father, Prophet Zakaria, had to endure the unimaginable pain of losing his son only to then be hunted down by the exact same angry mob. Zakaria tried to hide, and a miraculous tree actually opened its trunk to protect him inside, but a tiny piece of his clothing stuck out. The mob didn't just kill him, they took a saw and cut the tree, and Zakaria inside of it, completely in half. It is just a devastating, sobering reminder of the ultimate sacrifices made by these figures.
Which brings us to a figure whose story kind of bridges the miraculous and the yet to come. Isa, Jesus. Islamic tradition states that he did not die on the cross, but was actually raised up to the heavens alive, body and soul. But like we said, he too must eventually face the great equalizer. Tradition dictates that he will descend near the end of times, defeat the false Messiah, and bring justice to the world. He'll then live out a natural human life. He'll marry, have children, and live for 40 more years before passing away peacefully to be buried in Medina.
Section 4. The final prophet's passing, the end of an era.
In the 11th year of Hijrah on the Islamic calendar, Prophet Muhammad began suffering from a really severe headache and a high fever. As the pain intensified, he moved into his wife Aisha's room. And what is truly remarkable here is that even in immense physical agony, his focus was entirely on his people. He used whatever tiny bit of strength he had left to lead prayers and deliver his final advice. He was constantly reminding his followers to treat each other with kindness and to hold tightly to their faith. Finally, resting right there against Aisha, he passed away peacefully on a Monday, the 12th of the month of Rabiul Awwal, at the age of 63.
The shock to the community was absolute. I mean, people were overwhelmed with grief, completely unable to process that their leader was really gone. It was his closest friend, Abu Bakr, who stepped forward and delivered this legendary, grounding reminder. He said, "Whoever worshipped Muhammad, know that Muhammad has died. But whoever worshipped Allah, know that Allah is alive and will never die." It was exactly what the community needed to hear in that exact moment. It grounded them, it reminded them that while the messengers pass on, the Creator they serve is eternal.
And that brings us to our final point, and a question I really truly want you to think about today. When your time comes, what will your legacy be? Look, we've just explored the passings of individuals who possessed unbelievable world-altering power. Men who spoke to angels, who commanded the wind, who ruled the jinn. Yet every single one of them eventually met the angel of death. What survives them wasn't their wealth. It wasn't their physical power. It was the impact of their actions, their devotion, and the guidance they left behind. Mortality is the absolute standard for all of us. The only variable is the legacy we leave. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you next time.